Okay, this is how the depth adjustment works on an older Porter Cable Plunge Router. This one's already set, but I think I can explain it to you so it makes sense. You know, your first step is to unlock it over here and push this all the way down so that your router bit hits your work surface, and this way you know it's perfectly flush with the bottom of your plate. Then you loosen this knob. You loosen this knob, you lift up on this, you make sure you push this rod all the way down until it hits one of these. You can choose any one of these you want, but these are kind of determined by the length of your router bit. So I'm using the taller one here. Once this rod is resting on there, you then set this to 0. Then you lift it so that that top edge there goes to the depth you want. In this case, I want to go to 1/4 of an inch. So you can see that's right at the 1/4 of an inch line. You hold this all in place, and then you use this to lock that rod in place. Now when you plunge it, that rod is going to hit right there, and that's your 1/4 of an inch. That's going to set your bit 1/4 of an inch into the workpiece that you're going into. I think that should be pretty self-explanatory. It wasn't self-explanatory, I just explained it to you. This knob on these routers will strip on you. It did on me. I don't know if you could see it. I actually had a drill into mine, and I put a finish nail in there, so now that's locked in place, and I can get it nice and tight without it stripping anymore. This knob here, the round one, that will come loose as you use the router. It won't matter because you will be locked in place. I just did a plunge cut here. This is a dado, making dados here for some shelves. The dados are stopping about 1/8 of an inch or so from the front edge. These are my shelves. They are curved, so you know, you'll see how that fits later. I've got these two clamping guides here. These are kind of finicky tools. You want to make sure that when you push this down to lock it into place, that it's hard. If you push that down and it's too easy, you don't feel enough tension there, the torque of the router spinning is going to move that clamp out of place, and you will walk your dado right out of where you want it to be. I'm using a white pencil here for a lot of my marks. You want to do that on walnut so you can see what the heck you're doing. Go ahead and highlight this a little bit more here, right here, so I can see that through my base. Don't want to go too far. Better to stop short and clean that up with a chisel after the fact. And now, I'll give this a shot here. So we do this without screwing up too bad. Let's try not to screw up at all. How's that sound? Let's try to not screw up. That would be nice. Alright. Some hearing protection. Jam out to some tunes. When you clamp everything, you want to make sure that this is all flush too, so that the depth of your dado is the same in both your cabinet sides. Before you start the router, make sure to unlock it and let it lift so that the router bit is not going to hit the wood right away, because it'll pull on you. You can knock one of these clamps out of place. Double check the fit on this shelf. Should be pretty close. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. I'll trim this up, I'll fit these, start to get this unit together here. So I hope that works for you. I'll show you what that looks like. Nice even dado, it's about 1/4 of an inch deep. Thickness of the shelves is 1 inch. I ran it down the center without trying to hit the guides first, because as the bit goes through it could catch a weird grain and get torquey, and then if you whack one of those things you can knock it out of place. Porter Cable depth stop, plunge router. The depth with a 3/4 inch bit from the cutting edge to the edge of this plate here on these old routers is 2.5 inches. But make sure you're using a 3/4 inch bit, not a 22/32 for plywood. Save your plywood bits for the plywood.